Thanks, Anandam. Hello everyone. Well, very good afternoon. React 2022 Hybrid Meetup. So, I welcome you all. So, let's get started. A brief introduction about myself. So, I am Balaji. I'm currently working as a software engineer in GeekyAnts, and I would be the keynote speaker, and I would be setting the theme for this meetup. So, let's get started. What's new in React? So the latest React version is 18.2.0, and let's see what are the major updates in React 18. The first one is improved automatic batching. So this is really an interesting update because this technically requires no change from our end, and this is something which happens behind the scenes. So batching in React means if two states are changed in a sequence, the component will be re-rendered only once. So for example, if I change a state in one line and if I try to change another state on the very next line, it doesn't make sense to re-render the component twice. So with automatic batching, now the component would be re-rendered only once. Uh, so this is the current update, and this automatic batching was supported in React 17 as well, but it was only with in response to the browser events. So, for example, this was happening only inside a function which was called on click event or any other browser events. But with React 18, this has changed, and now automatic batching occurs everywhere. So this is one of the great update because this will improve the performance in very large scale applications. Coming to the next thing, that is concurrency. So concurrency is all about processing multiple simultaneous state updates. So now with this concurrency, there is a clear distinction between something called as urgent updates and the transition updates. So urgent updates are the one which is having more priority over the transition updates. So with React 18, now we can tell React that a particular state update is of lower priority by using one of the newly introduced hooks called use transition hook. And we also have an equivalent API for that called the start transition. So this API can be used in places where hooks cannot be used. So now we can wrap a particular state update inside this use transition hook to let React know that it can be handled with lower priority. And the next one is improved suspense. So even the suspense element was supported in React 17, but it was majorly used to wrap the lazily loaded component. So this was used to show a fallback component until the lazily loaded component was completely downloaded, or that particular bundle was completely downloaded. But prior to React 18, we could not use the suspense element if we also had the server-side rendering in our application. So with React 18, this has changed, and now we can use suspense element with SSR as well. So one of the major issues with SSR is that we cannot send all of the data at once to the user. So first the HTML is sent and then the CSS, and by the time the JavaScript could still be processing in the server. So we call this as the hydrating time. So React 18 now offers a solution to handle this hydrating time by sending the alternate component with the suspense element. So for example, uh, if there is a, instead of like sending the HTML or CSS of a component which is heavily dependent on JavaScript, we can send an alternate component for some time. So once that JavaScript is completely loaded in the server, it automatically replaces the alternate component with the actual one. So this is about improved suspense. So this basically helps to improve the user experience when we are using server-side rendering. And the next one is TurboPack. So this was like one of the most trending topics on social media very recently. So Vercel introduced TurboPack. So it is an incremental bundler which is optimized for TypeScript and JavaScript, and it is written in Rust. And this claims to be the successor of Webpack. And the main principle behind this TurboPack is a concept called incremental uh, processing. So what this does is the build time should actually correlate to the size of the diffs rather than the size of the application. So their main agenda was not to rebuild something which is already built. They only had to rebuild the changes. So this was their main principle behind this turbo pack, and this turbo pack claims to be almost like 10x faster than Wheat, and for very large scale applications, it almost claims to be 20x faster than Wheat, and almost like 100 times faster than Webpack. So this was about like this is a bit introduction about TurboPack and what is the future scope of React. So there is one more interesting thing which is not yet there, but we could probably see them in the future are server React server components. So these React server components are not just pre-rendered in the server, but they're meant to be executed only on the server side. So once if this feature is available, we can effectively see React as a full stack framework. So probably like this is still in the alpha stage, and we can probably see them in the future. So React Wizard, this is a React community based out of GeekyAnts, and we conduct various tech talks and workshops very frequently. So if you guys are interested in that, please follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. And finally, the code of conduct: do not use any hate speech and inappropriate comments. Be respectful. This is a space for growth and learning. Please promote that and get to know your fellow mates. Thank you.